Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Liberty and this is day one of my travels from all the way in the northern reaches of Vietnam to my home in the UK. I'm starting my journey on Cat Ba Island, which is off the coast of Haiphong, where I had been staying for a couple of days after my usual home of Hanoi City. Now, here's me travelling by boat from Cat Ba Island to the mainland, to Haiphong. It's a lovely trek. It's several hours from Cat Ba to Hanoi, but I had my book. I had my Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I'm very much enjoying this book. As you can see, I'm most of the way through. But it is a wonderful, if tiring, journey to be making as well, just by scenery. This bit made me laugh just because it's possibly the first time in Sally Rooney's works that I've noticed someone making a good sort of communication, healthy relationship decision. It was refreshing, if slightly strange, for Sally Rooney. And here we are arriving by bus in Hanoi. You can see the skyscrapers in the distance. The humidity correspondingly increased. I'm on the back of a Grab bike here, so Grab is like a taxi service, a bit like Uber, and you can get cars, but you can also sit on the back of someone else's motorbike. And I was meeting Maisie in Hanoi City. She was a person I'd been staying with while I was doing my teaching, and she had my luggage. She had all the things that I needed to go home with and was waiting for me in a hotel, so I had to scramble back, and due to last minute panic, she had to bring me my lunch. She got me a vegan banh mi, which is a Vietnamese delicacy. Did I just spend 40 minutes rearranging my 4 bags worth of things, one of which was a suitcase, into 3 bags of things? Yes. But it's fine because we happened to be here too early, because after all that stress and panic trying to get back from Cat Ba, picking up my friend at her hotel before she had to check out, it was a whole thing because she had my luggage and we were grabbing to the airport together and it was anyway, did that. But it means we're now here early because domestic flights, you actually only need to be about 2 hours ahead, and our first leg is actually from Hanoi, where we are now, to Ho Chi Minh City in the south of Vietnam, so counts as domestic. The next leg from that is the rather hellish 14 hours from Ho Chi Minh City to Paris, which is certainly not domestic and will be an experience, because thus far my longest flight ever has been 8-ish hours, I think, and that was one of the legs towards Bali. I'm really jet setting this summer. I'm really learning the ropes of those long hauls, and we'll see how it goes. By the way, I do look like a sweaty rat of a mess, but that's because I am, and I'm currently wearing some very old, very sweaty clothes that I've been wearing yesterday and previously Cat Ba and that. Got some clothes ready which I had already prepared to be wearing on the flight, because there are some clothes that work and some clothes that don't. For example, one needs socks, one needs something vaguely warm on their feet because it actually gets really chilly, especially on long haul, and this is why I'm learning. And so even though I've got my Birkenstocks on, as I have done for the past 2 months, I have also packed some socks, but my actual clothing are my trusty Lucy and Yak dungarees, because what else would you wear when you're travelling? They are the perfect travelling gear. And also like thin cotton play suit to go underneath, in lieu of a bra and in lieu of all these other things, but with the added benefits of a hoodie, a blanket, all such rest, so I can get the perfect level of covered but not too hot, of cool but not too cool that when we arrive in Paris I'm going to be really chilly, although I probably will be. But yeah, you must never forget your place in this capitalist world, children. Now, standing in line is not the most fun activity, so I amused myself by looking pretty, among other things. We had to get a Burger King because they are always notoriously in the most cursed of places, like airports. Here is us taking off from Hanoi City on the way to Ho Chi Minh City. I am away from my friends, but feeling chill, up until the point where this line in Beautiful World, Where Are You completely tore me to shreds. Thanks, Sally, you do it again. And then, finishing that book, I gave it 4.5 stars. It was pretty good. It was banging. One book down, and here we are arriving in Ho Chi Minh City. The transfer across the airport was slightly strange because it felt like we hadn't gone anywhere. It was still Vietnam energy with Vietnamese language and all that around us, but here we are waiting for many hours in a slightly weird, slightly cursed energy lounge where there was kiddie delights and a sleep box according to the sign. But here we are, arriving to get on our plane to Paris. The good old Paris. That step closer to our home. Take off as usual, and it was in the dark this time, so really strange to be going in the darkness and then only arriving right when it was dawn, even though it took 14 hours to get there, but we'll talk about that more later. Now, the ending of Belfast absolutely hit me. I was weeping there in my seat. It was just right at the end when the grandmother says, "Go and don't look back." And I literally was like, I can't do it anymore. After some editing, and I was mostly dozing, very, very cursed plain food, I also started the Midnight Library. No, not started, continued the Midnight Library by Haig, which I ended up giving 2 stars later, but never mind. We were heading towards Paris. It was all looking brighter. We were that one step closer to my home. Yay! More queues to get through first, obviously, though. Dawn was breaking over the beautiful city of Paris, and we had one full day ahead of us before the train the very early next morning, so it was time to kind of gird our loins on our very, very minimal sleep and immense amount of jet lag. Travel through the airport and out into the beautiful world of Paris. Obviously, nothing beats a travelator, but after a bit of a quick change and some freshening up in the loos, we were ready to hit the town. Which basically meant looking at old stuff. First stop was to check into our hotel so we could leave our bags, and then I was hoping to go into the catacombs, but tickets were well and truly booked up. So instead we went into the Crypte Archéologie. The cafe across the square was very beautiful. There was a trip to Hanoi salad, which made me raucously laugh, and then a hot chocolate, which tasted so much like home that I nearly started bawling at the table. And after a surprise find of Shakespeare & Company, literally right next door to my delighted eyes, hey there Bill, I very happily bought a couple of books, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is Jardin de Luxembourg, but I am not entirely sure, I can't remember. Then we went on a city bus tour, the tour of the capital that most European cities have, where you sit in a bus and with some very dodgy cheap headphones, you listen to people talk about what the sites you are passing are built for and what they do and why they're fancy and amazing. It was a great time, you know, Arc de Triomphe, an Egyptian thing, the Eiffel Tower, that also counts as a cool Paris thing, I guess, and then just some wandering around. Now, this is a book that I bought in the Shakespeare & Company, which is a very famous English language bookshop in Paris, by the way. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was famous for being part of the reason Notre Dame was rebuilt last time. Shakespeare & Company and the Crypte Archéologie are around kilometre zero, which is right where Notre Dame Cathedral is. So it was cool getting a book about the cathedral that you could see in the bookshop that had been there next door. Here's us, well, me, scrambling to get on the Eurostar because there were some queues, folks. I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to get in, even though I'd been up literally since about 6 a.m. Then a quick eyeliner, which is impressive to do on the train if I say so myself. And then I started reading the first book of the Milly-Molly-Mandy stories, which was something that I'd read all through my childhood at my grandmother's house. Arrived in London, and after a day of protesting and hanging out with my friend Ava, my family came to meet me. It was a joyous reunion, and we went to the one and only West End. So my travels home involved some more walking, which felt really dodgy for me at midnight, 1 a.m. in real time, but to my body clock was about 5 a.m. after very little sleep indeed, only to return home to my beautiful bed, my beautiful home, and my beautiful cat, who was ignoring me.
You smell.
Right, we're reunited, but he's a bit busy grooming himself right now. So I'm just going to stare at him adoringly for a while until he deigns to decide that he's ready for strokes.
Thanks for joining me on this little quest across the world, and this whole trip took a grand total of 70 so hours, and thank goodness it's over. Goodbye.